It's that code we live by. Straight from Sinai. Still applies. 10 laws, 0 flaws. From the mouth of Abba, yeah. Let's go.
We don't bow to no idols, we don't play no games. Keep his name holy, don't take it in vain. Sabbath set apart, we rest, we pray. Honor moms and pops, yeah, we walk Yah's way. No killing, no stealing, no lies out your mouth. No creeping, no lusting, that's what we bout. It's that law, 0 flaw, etched in our heart. Yeah, we live by the code, we'll never depart. I brought you out, the house of chains. Broke Edith's grip, Yah is my name. Had no gods beside me, I'm your only one. Don't carve no statue, don't bow to none. Don't take me lightly, I ain't no joke. I punish sin, you don't want this smoke. Keep my commands, to show me love. I'll show you mercy, be gentle as a dove. Honor your parents, speak truth, be real. Respect life, don't murder, don't steal. Don't take your neighbor's spouse, be wise. No guilt, no shame, no alibis. Don't covet what another man owns. His house, his wife, stay in your zone. God gave us commands so we won't live out in the desert. Sinai, we made that vow. Bow to no idols, we don't play no games. Keep his name holy, don't take it in vain. Sabbath set apart, we rest, we pray. Honor moms and pops, yeah, we walk Yah's way. No killing, no stealing, no lies out your mouth. No creeping, no lusting, that's what we bout. It's that law, 0 flaw, etched in our heart. Yeah, we live by the code, we'll never depart. 10 laws in my heart help keep me whole. Ain't about religion, but controlling my soul. Freedom through obedience, holiness rise. Set apart living, kingdom in our eyes. We don't bow to no idols, we don't play no games. Keep his name holy, don't take it in vain. Sabbath set apart, we rest, we pray. Honor moms and pops, yeah, we walk Yah's way. No killing, no stealing, no lies out your mouth. No creeping, no lusting, that's what we bout. It's that law, 0 flaw, etched in our heart. Yeah, we live by the code, we'll never depart. This ain't just laws, it's identity. This ain't just rules, it's our way of life. From the tablets to our hearts, Yah's law will never depart. We walk it out faithfully. We don't bow to no don't bow to none.
Yahweh, Hafapalau, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
Ya Baraka, Ya Baraka, Yahweh, Yahweh, Waya Shamaka, Waya Shamaka, Yahweh, 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 Panyawa Al Yak, Panyawa Al Yak, Waya Khanka, Waya Khanka, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yasha Yahweh, Yasha Yahweh, Panyawa Al Yak, Panyawa Al Yak, Waya Sham, Waya Sham, Laka Shalom, Laka Shalom, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Shah, Barak Rapah, Barak Rapah, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Shah, Barak Rapah, Barak Rapah, Yasha Allah, Yasha Allah.
Shalom, and welcome to the channel. We're excited that you're here. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the amazing history lesson. Whether you're new or you're already part of the family, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Let's enjoy this journey together.
All right, shalom, shalom. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to another Saturday morning class from the Lines of Israel. I'm your host, Priest Daniela. And as always, I'm joined by the Elder Zahab. I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, the supreme intellect of the universe. And I do so in the name of his only begotten Son of Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. I want to welcome you, brothers and sisters, on this Saturday morning. As always, we would be remiss if we did not say that we appreciate all you brothers and sisters that make it here every Saturday morning and support us weekly and give us a lot of positive feedback. And as always, I say, I pray that the lessons that I teach and also the other brothers teach in my place when I don't teach on Saturdays or during the week, we pray that the lessons are edifying to everybody that's listening to our classes. All right. Today is the 4th of July. So there's a lot going on in the world. So I want to have a conversation about it. It's kind of funny because this was not going to be today's class, but then as social media does, I came across a post on social media that just kind of got me upset. And so I had to blow up the lesson I was going to do to talk about this. All right. So without further ado, before we get started, I'm going to open the floor to Elder Zahab. You can have any type of opening remarks, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get down with today's class.
Shalom, shalom. You can hear me, priest?
Yeah, man, you talking on a good mic today. I can hear you.
All praises. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashama Mashak Yahweh, the water, man. Hey, thank the Most High, brothers and sisters, that you're alive. You woke up on this Shabbat. You know what I'm saying? We know it's an evil day, but it's still the Shabbat, and we give thanks and praise to the Most High. Just like the priest said, the class that I did last night, it was kind of impromptu. I was supposed to do it Thursday, but just like the priest said, it's like sometimes you're scrolling through social media, right, or whatever the case may be, and something will hit you, and the spirit will move you to make you want to do a class, right? So, priest, I understand where you're coming from. Go in the spirit, brother.
All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. So, again, today's the so-called 4th of July. It's a holiday that really has nothing to do with our people, but yet our people celebrate these holidays. So I kind of want to talk about it. I want to shout out the people that's listening to me on Clubhouse. First of all, if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you guys hit the like button on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. If you are on Clubhouse, today's video PowerPoint lesson is going to have a lot of information. I feel as though you would get more out of it by clicking the link at the top of the Clubhouse room and coming over to YouTube. But if you are not able to do so, that's fine. I feel as though that there are some things about 4th of July that might be new to some of y'all. These might be things that you guys have never seen before, never heard before, but you're going to hear about them today. So, again, if you're on Clubhouse, definitely try to come over to YouTube so you guys can see it with your own eyes. I like it when you guys can see what I'm saying, so you guys know that I'm not making anything up. With that being said, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with today's class. So let me just remove myself and El Zahab. Well, first, let's remove the banner, because the way the PowerPoint was set up, the banner will block some things that I want you guys to see. And I'm going to remove myself and El Zahab from the screen. And now we're going to go ahead and share our screen, and we're going to get started. All right, all praise to the Most High. So today's lesson was anchored around a speech that was given by Frederick Douglass in the mid-1800s. And the name of the speech was called, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July?" So that's where I started. As I mentioned to you guys, I saw something on social media that bothered my spirit. We're going to get to it in a little bit. And so it reminded me of this speech that Frederick Douglass gave. Because Frederick Douglass, at the time that he lived, was still in the midst of when Esau, the so-called white man, was openly racist. During his lifetime, our people were in slavery, chattel slavery, so forth and so on. And so he had a better perspective of what our people were going through and how the 4th of July has nothing to do with us. But as we become further removed from chattel slavery, and we're given all these distractions, a lot of our people simply lose their way. And so I thought it was important to talk about this. I want to start off with the scriptures, first of all, because we're Bible people. Let's go over to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17. The point I want is in verse number 4, because that is a verse that we always read. So 101 Israelite building block, right? We all know the scripture. But I want to start from verse number 1. This is Jeremiah 17, verse 1. It says, "The sins of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond." This is metaphoric speech. What is this talking about? An iron pen is like a metal tool used to carve something into hard surfaces, such as stone. So when the ancient Egyptians would carve all their histories, not all the histories, but their Book of the Dead, so forth and so on, into stone, you couldn't use today what we call a modern pen with ink. You had to use a hard instrument to be able to etch certain things into stone. So that means something that's deeply ingrained. So the sins of Judah, and when it says Judah, it's not just talking about the tribe of Judah, it's talking about the kingdom of Judah. That means Benjamin too, and the priests, Levi too. Really all of Israel, but Jeremiah was specifically speaking to Judah, Benjamin, and the priests, which is Levi, Our sin is deeply ingrained. It was so during Jeremiah's time, and it is so today. It is graven, deeply ingrained upon the tables of their heart, meaning in our minds. We as black, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as Israelites, we are sick in the head. All you got to do is turn on social media. Just go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok, whichever platform of your choice. We as a people are sick in the head. Sin is engraved in our minds because the Hebrew word for heart is lab, or as the modern Hebrew says leb, which means your mind. And upon the horns of the altars, letting you know it's not just talking about the tribe of Judah itself, but the kingdom, because who was in charge of the temple, the tabernacle, so forth and so on, and the altar? It was Levi. So the sin was replete through all those tribes. Whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. So the Most High was going to allow these other nations to come in and spoil us. Why? Because sin had become deeply ingrained in our people back then. And before we ever set foot in the land, one of the things the Most High told us was not to follow in the footsteps of the old inhabitants of the land that was before us. And that is exactly what we did. And so because of it, and we were giving a warning, the Most High said, you know what? I'm going to allow these other nations to come in, and I'm going to allow them to spoil you. And that's exactly what happened, right? Continuing on, verse number 4. And thou, even thyself. So people attribute this and say this is just talking about Jeremiah. No, verse 1 says Judah. This is not just talking about Jeremiah. It's talking about Judah, the kingdom of Judah, all of Israel. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage, which I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. That goes back to the time when the Israelites were taken out of their land and brought into captivity in Assyria. Some Israelites were serving captivity in Babylon, so forth and so on. There's always been a remnant of us that have been serving captivity in other lands, and we wind up being forced to worship their gods. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Now, this word forever, the idea in the Bible of forever is not for all ages. Forever means an age. There was a certain amount of time that these prophecies, these curses were pronounced upon our people. But the prophets always spoke about a time of restoration. So this forever would mean for an age. The Most High pronounced a judgment where he would allow the nations to come and spoil us for a certain amount of time as a punishment. Just like when you look at our so-called system of criminal justice system, right? For the most part, when you commit certain crimes in the criminal justice system, you go and you serve your time. They say you do your time. Whether that's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever it might be, is for an age, right? And then there's a restoration. You are allowed to come out, and hopefully, which we know doesn't happen, but hopefully you have been restored, and you're no longer going to do the things that you did that got you locked up in the first place. You have been rehabilitated. That's the idea. So scripturally speaking, the time where the other nations come against us and spoil us, that's supposed to be a time of rehabilitation, because all throughout the scriptures, even in our captivities, you can use it metaphorically in jail, right? Our people always had prophets that came and tried to rehabilitate our people. And just like with some prisoners, there's always the recidivism, which means that they keep going back to jail. You know what I'm saying? They come out and they do the same thing, go back to jail again. Then they let them out. They come back. They come back to the world. They do the same thing again and go back to jail. That's Israel. That's literally Israel, right? So this idea of forever in verse number 4 is not for all times. It's for a period of time. And hopefully in the period of time we are in captivity, we will acknowledge our offense and repent, which never happened in no captivity. And here we are in modern day Babylon today, America, and it's not happening here either. What does it mean, or what are some examples of losing your heritage? You're no longer nationally sovereign, which means that there's a lot of times throughout the history of Israel, when you read the Bible, where even when we were allowed to have kings, our kings were vassal kings, or what they call client kings, meaning you could keep your king, but your king is not really the king because your king is underneath the king of the nation that has us in captivity, right? So your king is only a king in name. He's a puppet. As long as he stays in line, you got somebody that you can call your king, but that's not really a king, because a king is really sovereign. Like, nobody can tell him anything. So an example of us losing our sovereignty was when the Babylonians came in, right? And they set up puppets. One of the first puppets they set up was Zedekiah, right? And then you see other puppets throughout the history of Israel as well. Now, Zedekiah was set up as a puppet, but he was not a puppet. Zedekiah was the spook that sat by the door, but that's another conversation. That's why he wound up having his eyes taken out. Another example of losing your heritage is losing your language. As you come and progress throughout the scriptures, the ancient Hebrew turned into Aramaic, and the Aramaic turns into Israelites that were speaking Greek and Latin, all these other languages, and couldn't speak no Hebrew, whether it was ancient Hebrew or Aramaic. You fast forward to today, there's conversations and arguments about the way we talk, we pronounce the Hebrew today. Is it the Lashon Kodash? Do we use the vowel point system that was popularized by the Masoretes, which were white people, the Nikudot? Do we use Matrices Lectiones? Right? What do we use? It's confusion, arguments. Tribal distinctions. People hate the 12 tribes chart, but have nothing to replace it. So if we get rid of it, we don't know what tribe nobody's from. Just like the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew doesn't know what tribe nobody's from, so everybody's a Jew. But in ancient times, everybody wasn't a Jew because Jew is Judah. So at best, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi will be Jews, not the rest of the tribes. They'd be Israelites. But when you lose your heritage, you lose that. Now you don't know who's from what tribe. You get rid of the 12 tribes chart, you cook. Now you don't know what tribe you're from. That's where we find ourselves. And political independence kind of ties in with national sovereignty. Is the same thing. You cannot be independent if you're a vassal kingdom to another kingdom that's over you. All of that comes from our people going into idolatry and sinning and being wicked and doing the things the Most High told us not to do before we went into the land. It all ties back to the same thing. This is how we ended up worshiping other gods. But when we became vassals to other kingdoms, or some of us in some captivities were actually carried away into these kingdoms to serve captivity, Jeremiah 17:4 shows us the pattern throughout the scriptures. It's a pattern throughout the whole Bible. God gave Israel an inheritance. Israel breaks the covenant through idolatry and injustice. God removes them from the land. And after repentance, God promises restoration. It's a cycle over and over again. The blessings and the curses of Deuteronomy 28 are cyclical. That's why the Bible says it will be a sign upon your people. It doesn't matter what captivity, because a lot of those blessings and curses encompass almost every captivity we ever been in. You can see the progression in Leviticus 26:33 through 45. There's a scattering of Israel for breaking God's laws, but there's also a promise to God to remember his covenant at a period of time. That's why I told you all that forever is a age. It's not literally forever. You see the same thing in Deuteronomy 28 verses 63 through 68. You see the curses that were written that would come upon you if you didn't keep the commandments. So looking at Jeremiah chapter 17, where the Most High is saying that the sins of Judah are written with an iron pen, they're deeply engraved. And in verse number 4, the Most High says he has an anger which shall burn forever. All you got to do is turn the pages to Jeremiah chapter 30, and there's a promise of restoration. That's how you know that forever is not literally forever. Does everybody understand? Ezekiel 36 verses 24 through 28 also speaks about restoration after dispersion. So the Bible follows the same pattern over and over again, and it makes sense. So that gives us hope. That's part of what the gospel is all about. There is a restoration of Israel. We believe that we are the Israelites. And we find ourselves in the land of our enemies in a state of confusion. not just the Israelites that are not awoken to being Israelites, but if we're being honest, there's a state of confusion amongst the Israelites that are awoken to be Israelites, and it plays out on social media. But there's a hope for us because the Most High always promises a restoration. A restoration is going to happen. And at one point when the Messiah comes, we're all going to see eye to eye and know the truth. We're going to know where we were right, and we're going to know where we were in error. Right? Okay. Let's move on. Let's go back to 2 Maccabees chapter 6. This is also a scripture that we read a lot, and this is part of what it looks like when the Most High is angry with you and allows you to be spoiled. Now you got to worship the gods of the other nations. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, starting from verse number 1, it says, "Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and did not live after the laws of their God." I want you guys to understand this is very important. I'm about to show you, just like during the time of the Seleucid Empire, when the Greeks were ruling over us, what was their go-to? If the Greeks went and came and told us that we should not keep our laws, we wouldn't listen. So what did the Greeks do? The Greeks paid somebody that looks just like you and I. You go and you say this to them, because if I say it, they're not going to listen to me. But if you say it and you look just like them, right, and we put some money behind you, they might listen. Those that don't know history are what bound to repeat it. We're literally living in a time where we're watching the same thing happen to our people right now. Remember, we talking about 4th of July. Y'all like, what? Okay, ain't we supposed to be talking about 4th of July? Yes. But I have to lay the foundation. So we see the so-called white man will bring your own people to try to seduce you to do something that you know better than to be doing. Verse 2. "And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defenders of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots." They were actually having sexual intercourse like the Gentiles would have. If you understand about the pagan temples that the Gentiles had, part of the pagan worship were actually sex rituals. You had something called temple harlots, right? They'd be in those temples drinking, eating, burning all types of strange incense, making strange sacrifices, and they'd be in there having sex, orgies, and all that. That was all part of their rituals. That's why when you read 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, when it says about the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven, I want you to look at all the things that are mentioned with the unrighteous. All those things were the things that were going on in those pagan temples. Man on man sex, woman on woman sex, orgies, men sleeping with other men's wives, and everything, just passing them around and stuff like that, all of that. Well, the Gentiles bought that and did that in our temple. That's what it's saying.
It sounds like a Diddy party.
Yeah, that's it. There was a whole Diddy party going on in the temple.
But not to cut you, but you know, they do have sex magic in the music industry. So what you're saying is relevant to this day. They do that, and they got humiliation rituals and all type of stuff. So the things that was done back then is still going on now, and they would use us, people who look like us, to introduce certain things. So you're absolutely right, Priest. Go ahead.
This is unrelated since you said that. There's this viral, I don't know if he's a TikTok or whatever. He's one of these viral streamers, whatever, called iShowSpeed. Maybe y'all have heard of him, maybe you haven't, right?
Yeah, he was in Jamaica the other day. Yeah.
This guy, I forgot where it was, but he went somewhere, and the woman was trying to seduce him through sex magic, but he caught on to it. He realized that. You remember that, Zahab? This is a couple, like maybe a year ago.
Con, yeah. But that's another thing too, man. A lot of these social media influencers, they've been compromised too.
Anyway,
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I remember that. Go ahead, Priest.
Yeah, so that's a real thing. Well, like Zahab said, that spirit still lives today, but that was in the ancient times. The Gentiles, the other nations, would do that in their temples. But since we were wicked as hell, and the Most High allowed them to come and spoil us, they decided that needs to be done in our temple, and that's what they were doing. 2 Maccabees 6 verse 4 says, "And for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within a circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. They were making unlawful sacrifices in all the temple like they were doing in their temple. Verse 6, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or profess themselves to be a Jew. Now, we always read this to explain to people that this whole idea of Gentiles in the New Testament are Israelites that were forced, just like in times like this, to not call themselves Jews. And if you did, you would be killed. Verse number 7. And in the days of the king's birth, meaning the king's birthday, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. We didn't want to eat that stuff. We knew it was unlawful, but it was like, eat it or die. And when the fast of Bacchus was kept, it should say feast. I don't know why it says fast. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to build it while we fly. Right? Okay. Oops. All right. So it says when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Moreover, there went out a decree to neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of the sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. So if you didn't want to, if you called yourself a Jew, you died. If you didn't want to eat of the unlawful meats and sacrifices, you died. And this was being sent out in all these cities. This is maybe 150 years before the Apostle Paul comes on the scene. So you have generations of Jews that lived under this. So by the time you come to Paul, of course they don't know they're Jews, because this has been forced on them for generations. Verse 9. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. Okay. Real quick. Should I do it? Let me see what time it is. I got a little time. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to deviate because I have a lot to get through. Let's go to the next slide. So now I want to take y'all from that time that we read in the Apocrypha to well after Christ was crucified, hundreds of years later. There's a period in history called the Bar Kokhba Revolt. Some of y'all know about it, some of y'all don't. The Greeks are no longer in power. No more Antiochus, no more Ptolemy, none of that stuff. Now the Romans are in power. The Romans are doing the same thing the Greeks were doing. This is why Paul had to write what he wrote. Listen to what's happening. This is 132 to 135 AD. This is 100 years after Christ. This is 100 years after Christ was crucified, give or take a couple of years. It says the Roman Empire Hadrianic persecutions, right? The closest historical mirror to the Seleucid persecution, we just read that, where guess what? You are not allowed to call yourself a Jew. Well, guess what? Hundreds of years later, that's still in effect. But now the Romans are in power. The closest mirror to the Seleucid persecutions happened under Roman Emperor Hadrian, following the Bar Kokhba revolt. Hadrian decided the only way to prevent Jewish rebellions was to completely erase Judaism. That's the same thing you just read about what the Greeks were doing. What was banned? Hadrian outlawed the Sabbath, reading or teaching the Torah, and circumcision under penalty of death. Is that not the same thing we talk about every time that we have the Feast of Dedication that Antiochus did? He did the same thing. This is hundreds of years later with a whole different world power ruling doing the same thing. The forced foreign rituals. Hadrian leveled Jerusalem and rebuilt a pagan temple. A pagan Roman colony called Aelia Capitolonia. He erected a massive temple to Jupiter directly on top of the Temple Mount. So where our temple was supposed to be, they replaced it with a pagan temple to Jupiter. The dietary insult to humiliate the population and strictly enforce the Romanization of the city. So the Greeks were trying to Hellenize us. That's why we couldn't call ourselves Jews. Now the Romans are trying to Romanize us. Hadrian had a massive sculpture of a wild boar, which is swine, which is unlawful, mounted over the main city gate. And prominent rabbis, including famous Rabbi Akiva, were brutally tortured and executed for secretly keeping the Sabbath and teaching the Lord, just like 1 Maccabees chapter 1. The women that were still circumcising their children and keeping the law were killed. That happened hundreds of years later with the Romans as well. Now we understand our Apostle Paul. This is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11. It says, wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh. What is this talking about? During the time of the Greeks, it was unlawful to circumcise your children or to call yourself a Jew. Fast forward hundreds of years later, after Christ was crucified and the Romans are still in power, it was still illegal. But you had some of our people, and it was legal for generations, but you had some of our people that were waking up and coming back. And they were learning about circumcision for the first time. But unfortunately, they were past the age as a Jew where you're supposed to be circumcised on the 8th day. These are grown adults. That's what Paul is talking about. These are not Gentiles of the other nations. These are Israelites that were around these different areas that were being trained from generations and forced under penalty of death for generations not to circumcise their children. Wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called circumcision in the flesh made by hands, because the Jews that were in Jerusalem that were still keeping the commandments, they looked at these other people that were not circumcised and looked at them as Gentiles. These guys people were speaking Greek. They couldn't even speak Hebrew. They couldn't speak Aramaic. That's the idea. Verse 12, that at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. Because up until the time that Paul went and taught them about Christ, they didn't know nothing about that. Some of them were literally full-fledged pagans up until that time. Verse 13, but now in Christ, Hamashiach Yahushua, Jesus, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Christ. Now we can look at what Paul wrote in his epistle, and we can set side by side the history of when the Seleucids were ruling, when the Ptolemies were ruling, and what they were, the laws that they were passing about circumcising your children and calling yourself a Jew. And then we could fast forward it to when the Romans were ruling, they were doing the same thing. And now what Paul is saying makes more sense. This was never about bringing in other nations. It was never that. It was never that. Okay. So now let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's go down the rabbit hole, because we are supposed to be talking about 4th of July. So I just went through a whole bunch of stuff. So somebody's asking, are we supposed to be talking about 4th of July? We are. I just had to lay the premise of how our people moved throughout different captivities and what was done to us. So now let's go down the rabbit hole, shall we? I want to say something to you, brothers and sisters. I want you to be very cautious of people, the mainstream. I call them the lame stream. Y'all call them the mainstream. I call them the lame stream. The lame stream media. Be careful of the people that they platform, meaning they put on TV to represent us. So here you have Anton Daniels. You have Officer Tatum. You have the Hodge twins, which are Edomites, even though they present as looking like us. You have Candace Owens. And you have, what the heck is her name again? April Chapman. Her right here. We're going to talk about her.
Never heard of her.
I know. You're going to hear about her today, though. April Chapman. All right. So who is she? Well, I was scrolling on social media, minding my business, and this popped up on my screen. It's called Why I Choose 4th of July. So let's read what she wrote about on her Unshakable with April Chapman. It says, let me go ahead and make the internet, it says, happy 4th of July, America. It says, let me go ahead and make the internet mad early. I am a Black American woman, and I proudly celebrate Independence Day. She's proud of herself. The 4th of July represents men standing up to tyranny and declaring that their rights did not come from King George's parliament or government, that their rights came from God. This is something I can celebrate. Here comes the part that made me upset. It says, what I will not celebrate is a culture that teaches people to rehearse victimhood. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I watch a lot of news. And I know that the conservative party, the MAGA, these are words that they use. There's certain phrases and there's certain words that racist white people like Charlie Kirk and others, this is the verbiage that they use. And she's espousing it. So I know who she is. That's why I went down the rabbit hole. I know who she is. When we speak about the truths of our people's condition on the 4th of July, she calls it, we're rehearsing victimhood. She wouldn't fix her lips to tell the small hats that, but she says it to our people. Remember what we read in the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, right? The Greeks got somebody that looks just like you and I to come and say these things to us. It's happening in real time today with women like her. What I will not celebrate in a culture that teaches people to rehearse victimhood. Wait for someone else to announce their freedom and then call that liberation. No, ma'am, not over here. My freedom is God-given. My citizenship is not something I'm begging to be invited to. I lay claim to it. New episode of Unshakable with April Chapman is now up. So she's saying that we practice or rehearse victimhood. She has all the talkings of the Ben Shapiros of the world, the Nick Fuenteses of the world, the Charlie Kirks of the world, all the racist white people that are openly racist on media. She has their talking point, but she looks like us. Because we're not going to listen to it if it comes from them. We could recognize it when it comes from them, what it is, so they send her. Now you might say to yourself, how do you know that they sent her? I told y'all I went down the rabbit hole. I went looking because I recognized the verbiage. I said to myself, she's getting paid. And I found it. I had to do some detective work, but I found it. This is a gentleman by the name of John Cafaro. He's a businessman. He's also a Trump donor and has been a major donor to Donald Trump and his campaign efforts. John Cafaro owns a trust called Parent Trust. Y'all with me? Okay. Parent Trust has a company that they manage called Ideal Living. Ideal Living was founded by Peter Spiegel and Katie Williams. Ideal Living is an umbrella company, meaning that there's several companies under that umbrella. One of the companies under that umbrella is a company called AquaTrue. AquaTrue is owned by Ideal Living, which is under the trust of a Trump supporter. Well, AquaTrue is the sponsor for Unshakable with April Chapman, meaning these racist white people, if you follow the pattern, are the ones that are supporting her. I went down the rabbit hole to find that because I already knew. I already knew. So when you go back and you look at this right here, all of these people, I've done the rabbit hole on all of them. All of them are being sponsored by racist white people. You have to be careful of the people they put on TV to represent us. She's representing us, saying that we're being victims because we as so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't want to celebrate the 4th of July because we know what it represents. They paid her to come out there and say that we're being victims. Does everybody see that? So now that we went down the rabbit hole, we could come out. We figured her out. Now let's go to the lecture that was given by Frederick Douglass. This was a lecture given by Frederick Douglass on July the 5th of 1852, and it's called What to the Slave is the 4th of July. See, this is how people that were more approximate to slavery, meaning they were closer to the time when slavery was going on, this is how people thought then. There was a lot more truth being spoken to the fact that we as so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, 4th of July is not for us. But the further away that we get from this time, Esau, just like we saw in the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and we see the same thing today, will find people amongst us that are greedy for filthy lucre and money, and pay them to speak against something that's actually right. The fact that Black people don't want to celebrate the 4th of July is actually right. That has been our mindset for a long time. So they pay people that look just like us to come and tell us that something is wrong with us. So again, this is from the lecture that was given July 5th of 1852 by Frederick Douglass. Now, I don't want to read all of it, so I kind of just condensed it down to the most important part, which is the summary. So we're on the 3rd page of this article, and we're going to start here at the highlighted portion. It says, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? Notice he didn't say our, he said your, talking about Esau. I answer, a day that reveals to him, talking about the slave, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is a constant victim. So remember, April said that we're rehearsing victimhood. No, we actually were victims, as he's going to explain. To him, your celebration, let's go to the next slide, is a sham. Your boasted liberty and unholy license, your national greatness and swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, and shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than the people of these United States at this very hour. Meaning Frederick Douglass was saying these things are happening. Our blood is being shed at this very moment. This is not rehearsing victimhood. This is history. But they got to pay people to make it seem like something's wrong with us for feeling this way. It says, go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world, travels through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of everyday practices in this nation. And you will say with me that for the revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without rival. America is the most wicked and brutal kingdom to have ever existed against our people. And so the idea is to sanitize that, to gloss over that, and to shame people into not saying it. That's the world we live in right now. Let's move on. Let's go to this book right here called Roll, Jordan, Roll. Jordan is a metaphor for the River Jordan. It says The World That the Slaves Made by Eugene D. Genovese. We're going to go to page 575 and get some insight into life on the plantation on the 4th of July. This is not rehearsing victimhood. This is history. We're going to start at the place where the arrow is pointing. It says 4th of July, or laying by crop jubilee, should be observed on every southern plantation, for apart from their health-promoting tendencies of cheerfulness, this festival may be made a powerful controlling power in the management of Negroes. By having it understood that the dinner is a mere gratuity to be given or withheld according to the merit or demerit. Translation, on the 4th of July, once a year, the slaves were looking forward to the dinner. It was a day where they didn't have to work. They were allowed to rest. They got probably some of the best food that they ate all year. They were allowed to party and dance and sing and all that stuff like that. So they look forward to a day where they got a break from being oppressed. They didn't look forward to the day They look forward to a day of not being oppressed. And what this is saying is that, and by the way, let's start from the beginning. I should go a little bit above. It says the slaveholders tried to use these occasions to impose their own version of paternalism and to tighten control. So this is from a guy by the name of John Steinbeck Wilson, and he wrote this in 1860. 4th of July, or laying by crop jubilee, should be observed on every southern plantation, for apart from their health-promoting tendencies of cheerfulness, this festival may be made a powerful controlling power in the management of Negroes, by having it understood that the dinner is a mere gratuity to be given or withheld according to merit or demerit. Just like when you guys go to a restaurant, right? Depending on what type of service you get, you decide how much you're going to tip, or if you're going to tip at all. If you get very terrible service, you say I'm not tipping you, right? So what they're saying is that if the slaves did not stay in line, this dinner that you look forward to the whole year, this break you look forward to the whole year, you're not going to get it. So it's a controlling tool that keeps you in line. So Black people were not looking forward to the 4th of July because they wanted to celebrate America's independence. They were looking forward to the 4th of July so they could get a break and get some good food. With the prospect of the big dinner ahead, they will be greatly animated and encouraged in their labors. And the fear of losing it will often be more effective in keeping such childish and sensual creatures straight than the terrors of the rod itself. So you could hold this dinner over the head and it was more effective than the whip. That's what this guy is saying. John Steinbeck Wilson. Let's go to the next one. Page 577. It says the 4th of July provided another occasion for a big barbecue and the gathering of slaves from several plantations. So sometimes you would have certain plantation owners that would come together. And so the slaves would be able to come together as well. So if you had a relative or a loved one that was on another plantation, that might be the only time you get to see them for the whole year. So again, I posit, we were not looking forward to 4th of July for America's independence. We were looking forward to 4th of July for everything except that. And that's the same mindset we have today. Most Black people don't give a rat's behind about 4th of July. They're just glad they have a day off. That's it. When the 4th coincided with lay-by, the slaves usually got the day off. When it did not, and they had to work, masters might throw a big party on the nearest weekend. The slaves looked forward to it with special excitement as the biggest day to Blacks and whites. The 4th, however, had unusual characteristics, for it often gave the slaves access to political speeches not suited to their condition. Words and phrases like freedom, independence, revolution, and death to tyrants did not escape their ears. So when they would hear these speeches being given by white people to other white people, that's not normally speeches they would hear, but they would hear it during the 4th of July. So it was different. It was news to them. It says these holidays, especially the extended Christmas holiday, lent themselves to different interpretations. The harshest judgment came from Frederick Douglass. He began by describing the almost total cessation of work and the gathering of families and friends, including those who had been hired away all year. Some slaves, he noted, hunted game or worked their gardens, but most simply frolicked. The masters, he thought, encouraged drunkenness and uninhibited displays. I believe, he wrote, those holidays were among the most effective means in the hands of slaveholders of keeping down the spirit of insurrection amongst the slaves. You just give the people a day, and they're not talking about insurrection or riots or slave revolts. They're not talking about that. The Romans understood this in ancient times. Circus and bread. That's what you give the people.
Yeah, but priest, imagine you're being forced to drink and get drunk and have a good time, right? Because if you go up a line before, you said the masters, it says, I'm paraphrasing, like they would force them to have a good time. So if you're a slave, you're like, good Lord, all right, this is the day I don't have to work. I just want to relax with my family. how do you force me to have a good time? How does that work? That's crazy. Because a good time comes from the spirit within. You want to have a blessed, you want to have a good time, meaning that your heart or your mind, you're having a good time. You got mirth and happiness and gladness or whatever. Now, mind you, some slaves, they are happy for that. But the ones who had deep-seated anger, how do you force them to have a good? So you would whip me and tell me I got to get drunk, I got to eat this nasty ass swine or whatever. I got to say happy 4th of July. How does that work? That's crazy.
I'm going to tell y'all a story. It's going to be a quick story. I promise it's going to be a quick story. But I've experienced this on a low level. I used to work for a job when I was living in New York that was run by small hats, so-called Jews, right? And on so-called holidays, which, you know, the so-called Jews don't worship the same holidays that everybody else worships. You know, Black people, Latinos, Native Americans, we celebrate the same holidays as so-called white people that are not Jews, right? So even though they didn't celebrate these days, if it was where we had to work on the 4th of July or we had to work on Christmas or whatever it might be, what they would do is they would go out and buy food for everybody that was working, whether it was just go out buy boxes of pizza, wings, Chinese food, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? On Thanksgiving, they would, there was a restaurant not too far away. They had a Thanksgiving menu. You could order food for the Thanksgiving menu, whatever. You had to work, but they made sure that you ate well on the so-called days, right? And so I used to watch, like when the food would come, you know, all the people that worked there, which was our people, would go and they would partake of the food. And these guys would be looking from their office down on the people just eating the food, with almost like they were looking at a zoo, like we were the zoo animals, and they were like the people that came to the zoo. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm telling y'all what I know. And a lot of times, it wasn't even me being. First of all, I'm an Israelite, so I don't really want that stuff on that day. But also, those that know, I work out, so I don't eat everything. So when you buying a bunch of pizza and wings and all, I'm not eating that. I always bring food from home. So while everybody was around the table eating and all that stuff like that, I wouldn't eat it. And again, I wasn't trying to be different, but they noticed that thing.
Exactly.
And I'll never forget these damn devils. This damn devil from freaking, I don't know if he's from Lithuania or Croatia. He's a so-called Jew, but he called me in the office, and this dude has that damn. I said, Daniel, I would tell you something. I don't know. You are different than everybody else. I would have figured it out. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, I don't know, but you are the difference. I will figure it out. This is that. I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, wow. They study us and they watch us. So to Elder Zahab's point, yes, they felt as though, yeah, dude, we don't see you over there like happy that we gave you some daggone burgers and pizza. Like, you're not like them. You're different. White people notice that stuff. You understand what I'm telling you? They notice that stuff. So to his point, yes, they tried to encourage you. Let's go back to what he was talking about. It says the masters, he thought, encouraged drunkenness. They will notice which one of the slaves doesn't get drunk. You are a problem. We got to watch you. And uninhibited displays. I believe, he wrote, those holidays were among the most effective means in the hands of the slaveholders of keeping down the spirit of insurrection amongst the slaves. See, the slave that doesn't drink too much and doesn't get involved in a holiday, he's a problem because he's going to be the leader of the revolt. We got to watch him, or we got to watch her. Got it? Let's keep going. They kept the slaves' minds on such immediate pleasures, just like today, right? Through music and Hollywood and social media, they keep our people's minds on immediate pleasures as eating, drinking, courting, singing, dancing, and playing, which is partying, clubbing, going to bars. But for these, he concluded the rigors of bondage would have become too severe for endurance, and the slave would have been forced to a dangerous desperation. So this is how Esau works. They study us, and they study us today and give us these same things. It's packaged differently, but it's the same thing. So it's the tale of two Americas on the 4th of July in 1852, according to Frederick Douglass. For white America, it was fireworks. For Black America, it was forced labor. For white America, it was liberty speeches that we were not supposed to hear. For us, it was chains and bondage. For white people, it was picnics. For us, it was preparing the food. Because guess, even though the slaves were eating, guess who was cooking the food? We were. It was patriotic songs for them. For us, it was separated families. So a couple of plantation owners got together. You're seeing distant family that you haven't seen in a whole year. For them, it was a declaration of independence. For us, it was no legal rights or citizenship. The Tale of Two Americas on the 4th of July, right? Okay, let's move on. The caption of the video says, the Black community's relationship with the 4th of July is complicated. It's not supposed to be complicated, but they make it complicated because they try to force it on us. Let's go ahead and turn the volume all the way up and let's listen to the video.
So many Black people in America have always had an interesting view on 4th of July. I don't necessarily look at it as my holiday.
There was no independence for African Americans.
I don't necessarily celebrate the 4th of July.
We were never free and or equal.
Independence Day commemorates the passage of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. It announced the freedom of the 13 North American colonies from Great Britain, but the newly independent nation still held Black people in captivity.
At one point, you're declaring your freedom, and at another point, you're enslaving people.
My people were going through a very traumatic time, and that the fight for freedom, liberty, and justice for Black people would continue.
And I look at the fact that we were 3/5 of the Constitution of the United States. We were not considered whole.
On July 5th, 1852, abolitionist Frederick Douglass gave a speech at an event commemorating the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In part, he states, "This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn."
All right, let's move on. So now, let's go to Psalms chapter 58. Start from verse number 1. It says, "Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart, which is mind, ye work wickedness. Ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth, because the sons of men and the sons of the wicked, their hands have been violent in the earth, especially towards our people." The wicked, which we know pursuant to the book of Malachi chapter 1, Esau is the top wicked. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison, which is their philosophies, their religion, I'm going to add one, and the way that they tell history, I'm going to add that. All of that is poison. Their philosophy is poison. Their politics is poison. Their religion is poison. And the way that they tell history is poison. It's like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth there. So an adder, for those that don't know, is a snake. So they're like deaf snakes. They can't hear nothing. What is a deaf snake? It's like something that's stubborn, because this is anthropomorphism. It's not talking a little bit about a snake. It's talking about people with serpent-like attributes. The wicked, which is Esau. They're malicious people who refuse to listen to reason. We're about to watch it. They refuse to listen to reason. Much like a snake ignores the music of a snake charmer. That's them. You can present and put history at their feet as clear as day, and they don't care. You can lay the sins of their fathers in front of them, and they don't care. They're like the deaf adder. They stop their ears. We don't care what we did. Get over it. This is a fellow by the name of Will Kane. Will Kane used to be on First Take with Stephen A. Smith back in the days, the sports show. But now he's a contributor to Fox News. He talks more about politics than he does about sports nowadays. And so he's reacting to a clip of Joy Reid. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I am no fan of Joy Reid whatsoever. But a broken clock is right twice a day. And at this point, she's right what she's about to say. And I want you guys to watch how Will Cain, Esau, is like the death adder. He refuses to listen to reason. What he does is he argues against her without ever showing that what she said was wrong. Because that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for you to show that what she said was wrong. Anyway, enough commentary. Let's go and let's watch the video. Let me turn it all the way up so you guys can hear it. Listen.
Nobody Black I know is really excited about the 4th of July because it is what Frederick Douglass said it is. It is the celebration of slaveholders who freed themselves from having to pay taxes to the crown for their slave empire.
Is Joy Reid right about Black America's relationship to the 4th of July? I know we have a big audience of Black Americans watching and listening to Will Cain Country right now. Put 2 Day Stand Tour. Jump into that comment section. I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me. Not how you feel. Yeah, I'm interested in that. I am curious how you feel, whether or not you like to flip side. What I'm really curious about is the description or the analysis, the diagnosis of Black America accurate about its relationship to the 4th of July?
That's a devil. That's a devil that knows history, but at the same time is baffled that even knowing history, he feels as though Black people should be okay with. Do y'all think like Joy Reid? Y'all think like Frederick Douglass? Like, what is the 4th of July to the Black man? Like, you think like that? There's no amount of killing, there's no amount of bloodshed that would convince a devil like this that you as a person should be upset.
Nobody Black.
Let's just listen to the video.
By now, it wouldn't have been in the past few years, between 40 and 50 churches bombed and burned. You see, and this lead me to say, all of the burning and bombing that was done to us and the houses, nobody never said too much about that, and nothing was done. But let something be burned, by a Black man, and then, my God, you see, the flag is drenched with our blood. Because you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We had to live on it, but we never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now.
And y'all notice that from Colin Kaepernick all the way up, people that don't want to stand up and put their hand over their heart, Black people, they get canceled. Even though knowing the flag is drenched with our blood, you could, if you're an athlete, lose all your sponsorships. You could be blackballed or blacklisted from the league for simply not bowing down to a flag that was drenched with your blood. You have to be totally blind to your own history. That's the only way. That's how they want it.
Give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man. As we know, this country was built on the black backs of Black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand it. They know what they've done to us. All across this country, they know what they've done to us. This country is desperately sick, and man is on the critical list. I really don't know where we go from here.
Well, she's right. They know what they did to us, but the Bible teaches us they are the deaf adder that stop at the ear. They refuse to listen to reason. They don't care what they did to us. They don't care. Brothers and sisters, did y'all know about this? Did y'all know about this? This is May Louise Miller. Did y'all know that her family was in slavery until 1961? Now, somebody's asking, well, how could that be? The Emancipation Proclamation, whatever like that. Yes, that was passed. That was the law. But y'all do realize that there's ways to circumvent laws. There were white people in the South that were still forcing black people to be slaves under the threat of death or being killed up until 1961. They told you slavery ended hundreds of years. No, it didn't. 1961. Let's read it. Let's read it. May Louise Miller. Let's start here. Historian Antoinette Harrell states that Miller's father, Cain Wall, lost his own promised farmland after he signed a contract that he would not read, that he could not read. So you have our people signing contracts they can't read. So a local plantation owner, the Wall family was forced to do field work. They were forced to do field work. This is modern times. They were forced to do field work and housework for several white families attending the same church of the Louisiana Mississippi border. The Gordon family, the McDaniel family, the Wall family, the latter of whom may have been related as descendants of the Walls, like owner Drury Williams, who owned 10. Somebody come look at this. This is one of them things I'm telling y'all that maybe y'all didn't know and you're gonna learn today. Somebody come look at this. Let's read it again. The Gordon family, the McDaniel family, the Wall family, the latter of whom may have been related as descendants of the Walls, likely owner Drury William Wall Jr., who owned 10 slaves in St. Helena, Louisiana. In what year is that? 1860. Peon owners used the violent coercion akin to that of slavery to force black people to work off imagined debts with unpaid laborers. Peons could not leave their owner's land without permission, which made it impossible for them to pay their debts. Let's keep reading, right? To get to the point, let's come down here to this highlighted paragraph. May said she didn't run for a long time because what could you run to? We thought everybody was in the same predicament. May recounted first running away at 9 years old, but she was returned to the farm by her brothers, where her father told her that if she ran away, they would be killed. Let's find out what time this was. The Wall family obtained their freedom. What does that say right there?
Salakia, priest, you probably have to scroll the page up. We can't see where you're reading that.
Okay, I'll do this because it should be on the screen. So I'll do this. I'll do you one better.
Yeah, we see it now.
Wait. Okay, now you confuse me. Okay. Can y'all see it? It's at the bottom. Right there.
Highlight it.
It's already highlighted. So this is what I'm gonna do. I don't know what you're seeing. Are you guys able to see it? If you guys are able to see it, put one in the chat. Because now I want to make sure you guys see this. So I'm willing to stop it and go. I took a screenshot. I'm willing to stop it and go to Wikipedia and show you guys. If you guys can see it, put one in the chat. If you're able to see it, I want to make sure this is important.
Hey, while you're checking the comments, after you finish making your point, I want you to scroll back to the first or second slide with the coons, the parade of coons, and that chick April, I think that's her name. She made a statement. She said that something to the effect that we don't wait to be given independence or something like that. Go back. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'll go back to it in 1 second. So
Slocky, go ahead.
Yeah, people are putting ones in chat so they can see it. So at the bottom, you guys see that the Wall family obtained their freedom in 1961. You have black people in slavery in the South until 1961. Do you guys see that? That's not long. How many years ago? That's not long ago. All right, before I go further, let me go back because Zab wants me to show something.
Yes, stick a pin in what you just said. That family did not get freed until 1961. Go back to that April chick. I think 10. There you go. Go to our comments. Right? It said
victimhood right here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What I will not celebrate is a culture that teaches people to rehearse victimhood. Wait wait for someone else to announce their freedom. What the hell are you talking about? What do you mean wait for somebody to announce freedom? That poor family was enslaved until 1960, bro. What are you talking about? Wait until someone announced their freedom. Are you harking back to what? Juneteenth that happened in Galveston?
Yep.
In Texas, they purposely did not tell the slaves about the Emancipation Proclamation, right? They purposely withheld that from them. So what are you talking about?
She's paid for, as we know now.
Bedwench, coon, sellout, Salak. I just want to bring that out, man. You got people enslaved until 1960. You got the nerve to say, oh, we don't want to wait for someone to tell us. How could you? Yo, you don't understand. A lot of our people, it was against the law for them to read. You saw the father of the family, right? He signed the contract and he didn't know how to read. They didn't know what date it was, this, that, the third. And you're going to talk about, now you're spitting on your ancestors.
So I need everybody that's watching on YouTube, I need y'all to type this in. I want y'all to go and look her up, Mae Louise Miller, on Wikipedia, and come and read this. Some of y'all can see it, some of y'all can't. I want y'all to add this. This is new for me. This is new for 99% of y'all. Y'all didn't know this. You had a family or families in slavery until 1961. No, yes, the federal laws were that slavery was abolished, but Esau has a way to circumvent that, and he did. And they were slaves until 1961. I need for y'all to add this to your notes. All right. There's more. There's more. We got to talk about critical race theory real quick. Most of y'all know what it is, but maybe somebody doesn't. So I'm going to allow Esau to tell you what critical race theory is. And let's have a quick conversation about it.
Okay, so here's what you need to know about critical race theory. In recent months, many Republican-led states have started to pass laws banning critical race theory from public education curriculum. They argue that critical race theory wants to indoctrinate our youth with a feeling of hatred towards America. They're worried about us losing patriotism. But that's not what critical race theory is actually about. Critical race theory is a framework that was established by legal scholars in the 1970s, which argues that white supremacy maintains power in society through the law and other legal systems. It argues that our racism does not stem from individual acts, but rather that individual racist acts are a product of routine practices and institutions within society. It highlights American history through the eyes of all ethnic and racial demographics, demonstrating our reality of centuries of oppression towards non-white populations. To deny this reality is to delegitimize the substantial economic, legal, and psychological impact that centuries worth of oppression has had on many Americans, and it's inherently wrong.
Translation, they want to get rid of looking at American history through everybody's eyes, through the Native Americans' eyes, through the enslaved foundational Black Americans' eyes, and anybody else that's here. You want to get rid of that. You want it to be a sanitized white version. This is a God-fearing, God-loving country. That's all they want to hear. They don't want to hear the truth. So they said we got to get rid of it. That's what critical race theory actually was. And that's what Trump ran on, and that's what he won. Now, we have this, we're going to deal with She-Saw first, right? We're going to deal with Esau next. We're going to deal with She-Saw first. So She-Saw is upset that her children have to learn the true history of what her people did. And she's saying that she is not a racist because the audio is kind of low. So I'm going to kind of give y'all a preview of what she said in case you can't hear it. She is saying if she does not want her children to learn the true history of what her people did, that doesn't make her racist, but that does make her racist. That's the point. You want your children to grow up in a world where they don't have to acknowledge what their forefathers did. Let's watch the video. Like I said, she's low, but let's watch the video. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Let me turn it all the way up. She-Saw is a clown. Listen. So I'm gonna go back. The captions are going across the screen because I know the audio is low. I couldn't find the original. So just read the captions. She's telling you exactly who she is. Listen.
In school does not mean that I'm a racist, damn it.
Yes, it does make you a racist. What are you afraid of? And first of all, only racist white people get uncomfortable with racist brought up. If you're not racist, What are you so afraid of? Your children learning Black history, and race theory. What are you afraid of? If you're not racist, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't let it bother you. Only racist white people get uncomfortable when us Black people talk about race, or they're being taught on race in history. These are the same people that tell Black people get over slavery, get over the past. Oh, I have nothing to do with what happened in the past. But gets defensive when race is brought up. But get defensive when we talk about, the oppression, systemic racism in Black history. If you're not racist, why get so defensive? Like, well, if you're not racist, it shouldn't bother you.
But they are. That's why it bothers them, because they can't deal with it and they can't answer it. Esau is a clown as well. I want y'all to watch. Listen. Outside of going to the circus, this is some of the best clown behavior I've ever seen. This devil could not, he didn't know what to say. Y'all watch this. This is clown behavior 101. My goodness. Watch this. Let me turn the volume all the way up. And yes, I'm going to stop it and give y'all commentary because this is crazy.
Arizona's Governor Jan Brewer just approved a bill banning ethnic studies classes in public schools.
And now that they
I want y'all to I want to tell y'all, so Arizona Governor Jan Brewer passed a bill to stop ethnic studies in schools. So I'm gonna give y'all a preview so that way as you guys are watching it, it kind of resonates with y'all. The so-called Mexicans, which are the Aztecs, right? In the Arizona school system, because they're highly represented in Arizona, they teach history and they teach the history of how the white man and what the white man did to Mexico, the Aztecs. So they teach that and hold the white man accountable. So the white people said we got to get the same way they get rid of the black history. We got to get rid of the Aztec history too, because y'all are holding us accountable. But in Arizona, they tried to play us against each other. They got rid of the Mexican history, the Aztec history. They got rid of that because it was holding them accountable, but they kept Black Studies. But I want y'all to pay attention. The Black Studies program that they kept got rid of slavery. So there's nothing for the white man to be held accountable for. We're going to keep Black Studies, but it's not going to talk about slavery. Oh my goodness. Y'all watch this, man. I had to give y'all the preview so you understand what you're watching. This is crazy.
Arizona's Governor Jan Brewer just approved a bill banning ethnic studies classes in public schools.
And now that they've eradicated Mexican American studies from the schools, they can focus on other ethnicities.
Honestly, this law won't be applied to any other of our courses. It was strictly written for one course, which is the Mexican American Studies program.
What about the African American Studies program?
The African American Studies program is still there. It's not teaching the resentment of a race or class of people.
I'm a Black kid. Try to teach me about slavery without me feeling resentment towards white people.
How am I going to teach you about slavery? Slavery was I gotta figure out. Okay. The white man.
Is that crazy or what?
I'm waiting for him to say a choice. That's what I'm waiting for him to say, bro.
That is crazy. Are y'all catching what we putting down? The Aztec history was teaching strip the white man's the devil, right? They kept the black stuff, but then they asked him, okay, so since the black history was kept, how do you teach about slavery? And he couldn't answer because guess what? They took it out. What do you mean? This is crazy. One more time. My bad. I'm gonna let it play. I promise. Let's go.
Of our courses, it was strictly written for one course, which is the Mexican American Studies program.
What about the African American Studies program?
The African American Studies program is still there. It's not teaching the resentment of a race or class of people.
I'm a Black kid. Try to teach me about slavery without me feeling resentment towards white people.
How am I going to teach you about slavery? Slavery was I gotta figure out. Okay, the white man did bring over the African.
The more he taught me about Black history, the more I realized Arizona has figured out the right way to teach it.
We now have a black man as a president. You know, Rosa Clark did not take on a gun and go onto a bus and hold up everybody.
Sadly, the peaceful lessons of Rosa Clark are lost on the radical reactionaries teaching Mexican American studies.
Hey Zab, I never
Right.
claim to know everything. Listen, I know something, I know everything. Could you please educate me? Who is Rosa Clark?
He said Rosa Clark. Hey, but seriously, priest, that's just as egregious as disrespecting Ten Tribe. Because you're taking away Issachar's pain. You're taking away Mexico, the so-called Mexican Americans and their tragedy that they went through. You see what I'm saying? And then you're slapping us in the face by saying, well, we're going to keep Black histories, but we're not talking about slavery. How could you not talk about it? Because the scriptures tell us that anywhere we go, we're going to see the curses that the Lord put on us as a sign. Deuteronomy 28, right? As a sign. All the curses from 15 on down. It's a sign for us. So how you going to take away slavery, bro? That don't make no sense.
All right, brothers and sisters. So your homework, for those of y'all that are watching the class, I'm going to give you some homework. I want you guys to come back next week and tell me who Rosa Clark is. I don't know, and I ain't about to study it. So y'all come tell me who that is. We're going to move on.
Arizona.
Rosa Clark.
All right. Yeah. Now we're going to enter into a portion of the class called What They Did Not Teach You in History Class. What they did not teach you in history class. But you learn here, in Lines of Israel. Did you know that there were 56 men that signed the Declaration of Independence? Of the 56 men that signed it, did you not know that 41 of them were slave holders? And this was signed on July 4th of July. There's an argument about why Black people don't want to celebrate. Okay, because 41 of the 56 men that signed the Declaration of Independence were slave owners. Let that sink in. While these men declared that all men are created equal in the Declaration, 41 of them had slaves. How does that work? Let's move on. Did y'all know there's a missing paragraph in the Declaration of Independence? Did y'all know that? You didn't know that? Well, now you do. Listen, let's turn the volume all the way up. There was an extra paragraph in the Declaration of Independence that they had to take out before it was agreed upon. What was that paragraph about?
We were brought up thinking that slavery was always just here in Georgia. That just ain't so. In fact, until just before the Revolutionary War, slavery was against the law because churchgoers like these fought a fierce, bloody battle to prevent slaves from coming to Georgia.
The horrified local farmers who attended this church unanimously petitioned the king to stop the importation of enslaved people. They wrote, "It is shocking to human nature that any race of mankind and their posterity should be sentenced to perpetual slavery." Thomas Jefferson, although a friend of the Habershams, threatened their human trafficking business. Here, at the Habersham Savannah Mansion, Jefferson wrote a draft of the Declaration of Independence, including a long passage that denounced the slave trade. Slavery is a war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty by captivating and carrying Africans into slavery and miserable death. It was the only passage of the Declaration removed by the Continental Congress on the demand of the Georgia delegation, headed by Joseph Habersham.
So you guys learned about a guy by the name of Joseph Habersham. Slavery was so popular for him. He was like, no, we're not getting rid of you. You got to take that out. We don't care that we're talking about all men are created equal. We don't care about none of that. We don't care about none of that. We're hypocrites. We don't care. Take that out. You know what I'm saying? All men, meaning all of us white men. These niggas are going to be slaves. Period. It's very profitable. Go ahead, Zon.
And let it not lose the context of this, bro. The narrator for that short clip you played talk about Thomas Jefferson. Let's not forget he had a slave woman, right? Sally Hemings.
Of course he did.
And he had slave children. So what are we talking about, bro?
He was a damn hypocrite.
Hell yeah, man. And she could not say yay or no. You know, like women today could be like, nah, I don't want to marry you. She was a slave woman. So imagine he just imposed his will, probably raped her, right? And had children, and then got the nerve to talk about, well, you know, I don't think slavery's right. Yo, the hypocrisy is crazy, bro. Go ahead, please.
The white man is the hypocrite king. So also, let's not forget, for our 10 tribe brothers and sisters, what else the Declaration of Independence says. It says all men are created equal. Does it not say that? All men are created equal. Meanwhile, in the very same Declaration of Independence, we have it right here from 1776, people tend to forget. It says right here, what? It says, he has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers. That's talking about the Native Americans. The merciless Indian savages. I thought all men were created equal. We're celebrating the 4th of July, the ratification of the Declaration of Independence, but within this document, it calls our brothers, the Native Americans, savages. That's what it says. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Yeah, because you came here and you're killing woman, man, and child, so they kill woman, man, and child like you're doing. I don't see the problem. I don't see it. Anyway, I want you guys to watch this video real quick. Here's Will Kane again, the same guy that was trying to ask, why don't black people want to celebrate the 4th of July? Well, the Native Americans don't want to celebrate it either. I want you guys to listen to, don't so much look at the people in the video, but listen to the idea. They have the same gripe with the 4th of July that we have. That's the point. Listen to the video.
As Native American people, we haven't been here for 250 years. We was here 200 million years before.
Not our independence, not my independence. I don't celebrate it.
A lot of holidays in America we don't celebrate. That holiday has really nothing to do with our culture.
We didn't cook out. We didn't celebrate what was going on, because back then when I was little, I didn't even know what 4th of July was. I thought it was all about fireworks. What the government has done to our people, so much can be talked about.
They don't want to let people know the true history of America and how it was actually built. And it was built on almost the backs of our people, African American people, and they want to erase that. I actually homeschool my kids because of things like this, because I think what they're teaching in history is inaccurate.
From the Pearson Square, Jimmy Alexander, WTOP News.
So the white folks want to force us into celebrating. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the Antiochians, the Seleucids, the Ptolemies, and the Romans. So let's move on. Guys, are you aware of the 4th of July lynchings? Did y'all know about that? There are famous lynchings on the 4th of July, right? While Sister April is trying to get us to celebrate the 4th of July, there are famous 4th of July lynchings. You have the Hamburg Massacre, July 4th, 1876. You have the lynching of Sidney Randolph, that's July 4th, 1896. And you have the East St. Louis Massacre. That was from July 1st through July 3rd, leading up to the 4th of July, 1917. Did y'all know that? There are lynchings of our people on these days. But we're supposed to celebrate it. Somebody make it make some sense to me. Somebody help me understand. Okay. Okay. I need y'all to look at this. Somebody come look at this, please. Help me understand. So this is from a website that has microfilm of newspaper articles that go back to the 1800s. So what you guys are looking at right now is from something called Freedom's Journal in New York. New York is supposed to be liberal. Is it not? It's supposed to be liberal. This is from June 22nd, 1827. And the Wisconsin Historical Society kept records of this newspaper writing. So you have a website called newspapers.com and other websites as well that have microfilm of newspapers that go back hundreds of years. So white folks can't hide from this stuff. Are we rehearsing victimhood like the sister said? Or are we just looking at the information and asking questions about it? So Will Kane, the white boy that was on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, and now he's a Fox commentator, was confused about black people not wanting to celebrate the 4th of July. Well, maybe somebody needs to show him this microfilm from newspapers. From Freedom's Journal on June 22nd, 1827. Somebody show this guy this. Look at the caption at the top. White people kept the 4th of July celebration and told black people, you can't keep it with us. We don't want you here. We don't want you here. Keep it July 5th. Somebody come look at this, right? It says, for the information of our friends, we feel it our duty to state that there will be 2, I don't know what that is, celebrations, whatever, in the city in honor of abolition of slavery in the state. One party will celebrate on the 4th of July, that's the white people, without any public procession, and the other, that's the black people, on the 5th. Translation, brothers and sisters, the white folks did not want you to celebrate the 4th of July with them. You can't celebrate, you have to have your own day. Do it the day after. We don't want you here with us. I'm showing y'all what's out there. This is why they had to get rid of critical race theory. You can't teach this. We're not teaching from emotions. We're not teaching from anger. No, we teaching from sources. We're putting your history in your face. You don't want that. That's why the white girl said, I don't want my children to learn critical race theory. We know. Because we don't have to be emotional about it. We just got to give you the sources, because the sources show you're the devil. That's why you don't want your children to learn it. We understand that. Anyway, somebody's thinking maybe that's just an isolated incident. It is not. Because now we go. New York is supposed to be one of the most liberal states. We have another New York City, the Plattsburgh Republican. That's Plattsburgh, New York. May 5th, 1827. We got the same problem, man. Okay, I gotta okay, there it is.
They got some goddamn nerve, man. Talking that crap in New York, man. Hey, real quick, man. Shout out to my brothers and sisters from the tribe of Gad and Reuben and Issachar, Zebulon, Naphtali, so on and so forth, but specifically Issachar, Reuben, and Gad, because y'all had to endure. Real quick, priest. A few years ago, one of the jobs that I had, right, they would send me all over, right? And I was in the Midwest. I was in I want to say Kansas. Kansas. We went to the Hard Rock, that hotel, right? And I met Flavor Flav there. If y'all know who Flavor Flav was, right? Is one of the members of Public Enemy. The brother said he's a Native American. The brother said he's Gad, bro. He said he's from the what's it called, priest? Wampanoag?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, from the Native Americans who are out there on Long Island, New York. Priest he's bringing this up about New England and New York people. Yo, you got Native Americans. I want to say either Shinnecock or Wampanoag, right?
All that.
Right. There's tribes of and they look just like us.
Yeah.
And the dude Flavor Flav said, "Yo, I am Native. I met him at the Hard Rock Cafe, bro," and he said that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for these crackers to talk smack and talk about, oh, we don't want y'all celebrating, it's just the audacity for me. And today should be a day of mourning, man, for all my Native American, my Gadites and Reubenites and Issacharites. Go ahead, priest.
So y'all saw that you have Freedom's Journal from New York for June 22nd, 1827. The next one is New York. And I'm showing y'all New York because the newspapers from the other states, it's expected for them to be racist, but not New York. Now we have Plattsburgh Republican also in New York, May 5th, 1827. So it's kind of, I'm going to read it for y'all because it's kind of worn out. These are newspapers, obviously they're hundreds of years old. So it is what it is. It says the colored people of Albany, upstate New York, right, have had a meeting to adopt resolutions for the celebration of the abolition of slavery in the state on the 4th of July. Next, in order, however, that they may not interfere, because us doing something on the 4th of July is interfering with white folks. Do y'all not see that? In order, however, that they may not interfere. I know it's kind of rubbed out, but y'all can see it. Interfere with the interest of the, what's that word there? White citizens on that day, because us celebrating the 4th of July with on the same day the white man does and have a procession is interfering with them. Y'all see this? But we have this woman talking about we should, the 4th of July is your victimism. And we look at the newspapers, we look at history and saying, wait a minute. However, that they may not interfere with the festivities of the white citizens on that day, they resolved to postpone their celebration until the 5th. Y'all see that? Am I the only one that sees this? White people didn't even want you in New York, which is supposed to be liberal. We're not even looking at newspapers in the South. We're looking at newspapers in the North. We're looking at people that are supposed to be open to, integration, everything in New York. The white folks did not want us celebrating the 4th of July with them on the same day. So what is Will Cain talking about? Why do y'all think they want to get rid of critical race theory? They don't want to have to answer for this stuff. What do you mean? Anyway, let's move on, man. Damn, July 4th, 1910. Y'all guys know who the boxer Jack Johnson is? You ever heard of him? I know y'all know who Mike Tyson is. I know y'all know who Floyd Mayweather is and Muhammad Ali is, but before all of them, there was Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson defeated Jeffries in 1910 on July the 4th. Did y'all know that? Maybe not. It's okay. You learned it today. In 1910, Jack Johnson defeats James Jeffries on July 4th. Independence. We're all supposed to be Americans, right? 4th of July, independence. All men are created equal, right? Well, in 1910, there was a boxing match on July 4th. And African-American, foundational American Jack Johnson, the heavyweight champion, successfully defended his title by knocking out James Jeffries, the Edomite. James Jeffries, who had come out of retirement to win back the title for the white race. This is 4th of July.
Yeah, I wonder if Jack Johnson had security back then. Because after he knocked that cracker out, I wonder how it went after that.
We're about to find out. Terrorist attacks were made on foundational Black Americans, African Americans, referred to in the media and textbooks as race riots throughout the country that evening on July 5th. After James Jeffries lost on July 4th, remember, you don't have the internet now, so it took a day for the word to circulate. But within 24 hours, there were race riots all around America because Jack Johnson knocked this devil out and said he was about to win the title back for the white race. This is your July 4th. He chose July 4th to say, I'm going to win the title back for the white race, but somehow I'm supposed to celebrate this thing. Why? And the devil got knocked out. Now, we're going to watch this video. Jack Johnson, well, I'll watch the video. I'll give y'all some commentary. Yeah.
Under a sun so hot it melted the ring, Johnson didn't just win, he put on a clinic.
For the first time in his entire professional
professional career. The crowd released to its feet as a shock of what happened.
He smiled at Jeffries while breaking him.
Right, and he hit with a snaky left hook, which sends him out of the ring. Second, with the help of a fan, lifting to his feet. Johnson rushes Jeffries across the ring, where he floors Jeff with a paralyzing right to the head.
When Jeffries went down, America exploded. Race riots broke out in over 50 cities. The government realized they couldn't beat him in the ring, so they went after his life.
So if y'all can go and look into the history of Jack Johnson, they couldn't beat him in the ring, so they went after him after his life. Now, Jack Johnson made a lot of mistakes. Jack Johnson made what I call, this is my only, you know what I'm saying, my phraseology, somebody else's. Jack Johnson did what Solomon did. Yep. Jack Johnson was into women of the other nations, right? So he realized, because you know, it's not hard as a black man that's in shape, you get yourself together, you're a top guy, and the white women realized that their man can't do nothing. The white women loved Jack Johnson. They loved him, right? That was a mistake, and he fed into going after the white women because they loved him, just like all the black athletes of today, the football players, the basketball players. You know what I'm saying? They go with the white women. They don't go with their own women. They go with the white women for the same thing because of proximity, how easy it is. And the white women really don't want their man. They don't. In the presence of the God of the earth, which is the black man, the Israelite man, black, Hispanic, Native American, the God of the earth, the white woman does not want her man. Let's keep it real. And so Jack Johnson took that and he ran with it, and Esau destroyed him later. But in this particular case, this happened on July 4th. You gonna say something, Zahab? Go ahead.
Yeah, they created the Mann Act because of that, brother, man. The whole thing that Diddy got charged with, the Mann Act, I think he got charged with it. I could be wrong, but where you're transporting women across state lines. The whole thing was because of him. The Mann Act, look it up, M-A-N-N Act, the Mann Act. Yeah, Priest, you're absolutely right. He should have, you know, that's his downfall. He started messing with the other nations, particularly Becky. But you know what? He thought that was, in my mind, I think he's saying, you know what? That's a come up. I'm gonna prove them. I could beat them in the ring, and I could beat them in the bedroom too.
Take their women.
But it was off. Yeah, exactly. But he was off though. Go ahead.
And that's in the scriptures, because even the scriptures tell you that even Israel, if you defeat another nation, you take their women. You have to pare her nails and all. That's in the scriptures. That's a thing where you defeat another nation, you can take their women. So he looked at, you know what I'm saying, he didn't know scripture, but that's what he was doing. He was beating the shit out of Esau and taking their women. And a lot of brothers do that. We don't support that in the Israelite community. Like, we're not about that. But that is a thing. We're being real. That's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Jack Johnson, but that happened on July 4th, and by July 5th, there was a riot. Anyway, let's move on.
Under a sun.
All right. Let's keep going.
Why don't we go to Joy Reid?
So we got to deal with this devil right now, because we dealt with the men. Let's deal with the woman. Same thing. She's going to go to the same Joy Reid video, and she's upset. Let's watch Megyn Kelly.
She's also a race hustler, so the flow is okay, but she's a nutcase, and she kind of makes me laugh. Like, she doesn't upset me. She just kind of.
So what I want y'all to watch what I put at the caption. It's all ad hominems. What an ad hominem is an insult. When the debate is lost, as they say, you resort to insults. So I want y'all to watch all the insults, but what Megyn Kelly doesn't do, she doesn't show where Joy Taylor was wrong. The white audience eats this up. Yeah, she's Joy Taylor is all these things, which Joy Reid is all these things, which I don't like Joy Reid either. But I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm real. When somebody says something right, it's right. So, hey, okay, you don't like her as a person. What did she say that was wrong? That's the problem. Instead, you resort to insulting her as a person because you can't deal with the argument. Those that are intelligent pick that up immediately. Let's go back. I want y'all to see. It's all insults, but she doesn't say what's wrong.
Why don't we go to Joy Reid? She's also a race hustler, so the flow is okay, but she's a nutcase, and she kind of makes me laugh. Like, she doesn't upset me. She just kind of makes me laugh. These days, thank God she no longer has that show on MS Now. I realize nobody watches MS Now, but they shouldn't be platforming people like that, Tiffany Cross and Joy Reid. These are nutcases. Like, that's just freaking crazy. Just can't be doing that.
Let's not forget that Megyn Kelly is the one that told us that Jesus was white. For those of y'all that watch my Christmas show, So-Called Christmas, this bitch said that Jesus is white, but didn't prove it anyway. And I called her a B word because that's what she is. She's the Esau. So we don't care. We call white. I'll call a white woman a bitch in a minute. If I'm wrong, y'all can tell me to repent later. I don't care. You notice I don't talk about it about the black woman. But yeah, the white woman's a bitch for sure. And she couldn't prove it. Anyway, let's go.
And here's the latest example of why she lost her show and was too much even for them.
Because in many ways, and with apologies to my dear spicy white friends, because I know that my white brothers and sisters do love a 4th of July. It is Independence Day. Everybody's barbecuing. It's a thing. I can promise you, black folks, we will take that day off. We will barbecue because we all. But black people, that nobody black I know is really excited about the 4th of July because it is what Frederick Douglass said it is. It is the celebration of slaveholders who freed themselves from having to pay taxes to the crown for their slave empire. And that is what it is.
Okay, then you need to meet other black people, Joy Reid, because there's not a black person I know who won't be celebrating July 4th as avidly and excitedly as most of their fellow Americans.
Because the black people, you know, are Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, Officer Tatum, Anton Daniels, and that ilk. That's the black people that you're talking about. We already know. We already know, devil.
Why don't we go?
Anyway, let's watch this real quick.
Get back in the kitchen. The 4th got nothing to do with you. Go prepare my dinner.
Yes, miss.
Massa, come back to me. Don't leave me, please. Please.
I don't know who Levi Art is. He might be part of another camp, but I just added that in because I liked it. Anyway, let's move on. Sadly, we have to deal with this, right? With our people that love the 4th of July, that's listening to the coons of our people that want to celebrate the 4th of July. This is how black people celebrate the 4th of July. This is how we do it. Let's hey.
He was so full of joy. The family of 19-year-old Maurice Kwan says this video before prom back in May is...
We kill each other on the 4th of July. That's the point. The ones of y'all that want to keep it, what do we do as niggas? We kill each other on the 4th of July.
Happy, love to dance. Maurice was the life of the party. Maurice was everybody's friend. The family says that's exactly what he was doing on the 4th of July. At a pop-up party he helped organize near 60th Street and King Sesson Avenue. Several of his cousins said...
I ain't got to play the whole video. We kill each other on the 4th of July. The other people don't, but we do. Let's go to the next one. Right? Hey, the white folks want to thank y'all. They say, great job, fellas. Thank you for your help. We couldn't do it without you. Hey, you're one of a kind. You stepped up big time. We appreciate you. What do they appreciate about us? Let's watch the video.
This is coward stuff. This is, you see the size of this block. I mean, just individuals just shooting randomly into houses, into cars, children out here. I mean, this is coward, wannabe thug stuff. This is stuff that it's hard to understand why individuals engage in this behavior. But as we do in all of our investigations, we will get to the root cause and we will bring those individuals to justice. I don't know how many. I know reporting as a event they had the night before, there was a large crowd out here. I'm not getting that crowd. Many of the folks are up on the porches. The reports around 40 individuals made it out here, but those numbers are conservative, particularly when you're on a block of this size. People go in.
So look at the caption. It says 3 dead, 10 others shot and injured at 4th of July block party in Philadelphia. This is how we celebrate. And the white folks are thanking us. We couldn't do a better job than they do, for sure.
This is coward stuff.
Move on.
In the Eastland neighborhood of Fort Worth at Castleman and Comanche, Lisbeth was with her family celebrating the 4th of July.
Like before everything started, they were already here.
Fort Worth police was already monitoring the area. They say 200 to 300 people took over the block.
I'm trying to show you all these people outside.
Just before midnight, the booming sound of fireworks was muted by gunfire.
As the 4th of July celebrations filled the streets of Fort Worth, Texas in 2024, Latasha Hyman was streaming live on Facebook. But the sounds of joy and laughter were quickly silenced by gunshots and chaos when violence erupted at a block party on Castleman Street. In the aftermath, family members mourned the loss of 39-year-old makeup artist and business owner Latasha Hyman, who was caught in the crossfire and killed.
Every holiday of these other nations that we celebrate, one of us winds up dying.
Hyman's cousin, Pastor Felton Jenkins, described her as an angel with a sweet spirit and a smile that could light up any room. But now he is left to grieve her senseless death and plead for an end to these types of events. But unfortunately, this kind of tragedy is not uncommon in this area.
It's never uncommon. You'll never see this in even the other nations. I don't give a damn if it's Esau, Moab, Ammon, even Ham. One of these days that they're in America and they maybe participating and celebrating American holidays, death is not there, but for us, death is there. It's because the Most High is angry with us. We have to acknowledge that.
Hell yeah, man. We coming together on a pagan holiday.
Yeah.
You got family members. Look, he's wearing an ankh, an Egyptian ankh. Come on, man. There's spirits on these so-called holidays. That's why we're supposed to stay away from them. I mean, I feel bad the sister passed away, but more people are going to pass away on these pagan holidays. We're not supposed to take part in them. Salakia, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's sad.
In the East,
we don't like it. So we're gonna go past 2 hours. I'm gonna go into the third hour. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna go, but I want to talk about this because this is important. So this is it's not a 100% updated list of the presidents because Trump is not on here for his second term. But anyway, I want you guys to look at the arrows that are on the screen. So you have this president right here called James Monroe, right? James Monroe is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the 5th president of the United States. He's very important. They don't talk to you much about him. So I'm going to talk to you about him. He's the 5th president of the United States of America. And you have Abraham Lincoln, who is president number 16. What doesn't happen is that people don't teach y'all the relation between the two. But I'm going to teach you it today. There is something called the American Colonization Act. Have y'all heard that before? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, it's okay. That's why we do these classes, so you can learn. Today is the so-called 4th of July. So we're learning new things. So we have a relationship between 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th president and president number 16. There's a relation. Just nobody ever bothered to explain it because they try to hide it. The lines of Israel, we explained it. There's a relation between president number 5 and president number 16. And it's the American Colonization Act, or also known as the American Colonization Society. Now somebody's asking, what is that? I know. So let's read it. We have the American Colonization Society. It is the American Colonization Society, initially the Society for the Colonization of Free People of Color of America, was an American organization founded in 1816 by Robert Finley, that's this devil right here, to encourage and support the repatriation of freeborn people of color and emancipated slaves to sub-Saharan Africa. In other words, after slaves were freed, they wanted to send our people back to Africa. This is what the white people was doing, and they put their money behind it. That's exactly what they did. And the person that was at the forefront of it was Robert Finley, but he was supported. It was Robert Finley, this guy right here, but he was supported by James Monroe, which is the 5th president of the United States of America. Are y'all following along? This devil right here, way before, let me go slow. This devil right here, which is the 5th president, way before President number 16 that gave us the Emancipation Proclamation when the so-called slaves were freed, already set in place something. And the something was, I want to send any descendant of slavery or black person back to Africa. This was set in place by the 5th president of the United States of America way before Lincoln. Y'all following along? This is new information for most of y'all.
Hey, Priest, what's that that territory, Liberia, right? What's the capital of Liberia, Priest?
Off the top, I don't know. I'm coming
Monrovia. Monrovia.
Oh, yeah, I'm coming to that. That's in here.
Right.
That's in here.
Slacky, go ahead.
That's in here. So this was set up in place from the 5th president of the United States, way before Lincoln. Send the niggas back to Africa. That was already set in place. And you had a guy that was funding it called Robert Finley. Does everybody see that? Okay. Trump is doing the same thing that Monroe was doing. Let's watch the video real quick.
They say Monroe believed in freedom, but he used U.S. tax dollars to ship free black Americans out of the country, like they were a problem to be removed. Follow Presidents Unmasked, because this history was buried on purpose. After slavery, thousands of black Americans were building lives here. No chains, no masters. But Monroe didn't see citizens. He saw a threat. With elite politicians, he backed the American Colonization Society and used federal funds to create Liberia, a colony in Africa, not for Africans, but to dump free black Americans, to keep white America safe from revolt, unrest, and equality. And here's the part they hide. Some were told to leave or be punished. Freedom came with an ultimatum. You're free to get out. Others forced onto ships. And Monroe stamped it all as benevolence. This wasn't immigration, it was exile. So was James Monroe, the protector of liberty, or the president who believed black freedom couldn't exist on American soil.
So black freedom can't exist on American soil. This is your 5th president before your 16th president already laying the groundwork to send free people back to Africa in a colony that they were going to establish themselves.
They say
so. To Zahab's point, there was something called the American Colonization Act. Let's read Psalms 49 verses 6 to 11. They trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches. None of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their souls is precious and ceaseth forever, that he should live forever and not see corruption. For he seeth that wise men die. Likewise, the fool and the brutish person, the word brutish means stupid, and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. This is what they thought. Their houses shall continue forever. And their dwelling places to all generations. They call, here's the point, they call lands after their own names. That's the point I want right here. They call lands after their own name. So to Sahab's point, this is President Monroe, president number 5, right? Well, let's deal with this first. And we're going to come back to that. Abraham Lincoln, for those of y'all that didn't know, didn't free the slaves because he loved black people. I want y'all to read this right here. This is a letter in reply to Horace Greeley on slavery and the Union and the restoration of the Union, the paramount object. In other words, translation, Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves because he loved black people. He felt as though that slavery was wrong. He freed the slaves to save the Union. Let's read it. Let's read it. It says, if I could save the Union, because that's what was paramount, without freeing any slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing the slaves, freeing all the slaves, I would do it. So it was Abraham Lincoln didn't free you or write the Emancipation Proclamation because he likes black people, because he would have, whatever it took to save the Union, he would have did that. Freeing you didn't matter to him. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would do that. What I do about slavery and the color race, I do because I believe it helps save the Union. And what I forbear because I do not believe it would help save the Union. So Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves on a thing of conscience. It was wrong. What they teach you in school? No. He freed the slaves to save the Union, period. He would have left us in slavery if that would have saved the Union. He didn't care. So this soft spot that we have for Abraham Lincoln should go away. It's not real. Now, let's come out of here. Let's come to this right here. This is from the National Archive. So again, this is not me making stuff up. This is me just dealing with history, right? Y'all see the topic? Lincoln to the slaves, go somewhere else. So y'all learned that Monroe wanted the slaves to leave. By the time you get to Abraham Lincoln, what is that, 11 presidents later? He was following the same thing. He was following what Monroe put down. He was picking up. He's following the same thing. He wanted the slaves to leave. He didn't free them. Y'all just read it. He didn't free the slaves because he wanted the slaves to be free and everybody. No, he freed the slaves. But hey, if I free you, get out of America, go somewhere else. I'm giving y'all the keys. Y'all can go and read these things later because I'm pressed for time. It wasn't out of love. This is new for a lot of y'all. It wasn't out of love. It was out of to save the Union. So I freed y'all. Why don't y'all go live somewhere else? Where's the somewhere else? Liberia. That's what he did. Let's read this real quick. Long before the Civil War in 1854, Abraham addressed his own solution to slavery at a speech delivered in Peoria, Illinois. I should not know what to do as to the existing institution of slavery. My first impulse would be to free all the slaves and send them to Liberia. That's what Monroe said. He didn't free us so we could be free. Black people should celebrate the 4th of July. No, he freed the slaves and said, okay, I freed y'all. Go back to Africa. Do you understand that? That's enough. Let's come back here for the sake of time, because this is new to a lot of people. So to Elder Zahab's point, Monrovia, that was named after Monroe, the 5th president, because he founded Monrovia to send the black people in America back to, the 5th president. The 16th president was on the same page, because Monrovia, that's named after President Monroe, is where Abraham Lincoln wanted to send the slaves. We just saw that. We literally just saw that.
Why did they choose Liberia? I always wanted to know. Did they like close their eyes and throw a dart and said, okay, we're gonna send them Negroes here? I always wanted to know that.
So are y'all seeing this on the page? This is where Abraham Lincoln wanted to send the slaves. He wanted to send them back to Liberia. So you guys understand, right? That is Liberia is literally Monrovia. Monrovia is named after President Monroe. Monroe was the 5th president. Lincoln is president 16. So Monroe set the ball in motion, and then Lincoln was following it. But we're taught in school that Lincoln was a great person that freed slaves and all that stuff like that. That's why they wanted to get rid of critical race theory, because when you notice and you start asking some questions, white folks get uncomfortable. Right? They get uncomfortable. So you have to be uncomfortable making white people uncomfortable. Does everybody understand it? Maybe I'm just talking to myself. I don't know. Hey, going back to the beginning of the class, they forced us to celebrate their gods. Guess what we're going to do? When we in power, we're going to force them to celebrate the true God, which is Yahweh. This is Zechariah 14, verses 16 through 19. It says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the king. Hey, did we not have to go up and do a procession to Bacchus for the other nations? Guess what? This is righteousness. They're going to have to come and do a procession to Yahweh. That's what they're going to have to do. The Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. That's righteousness. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even unto them shall be no rain. No rain means no crops, no nothing, no eating, no drinking, no nothing. And if the family of Egypt, that's the Egyptians who the Feast of Tabernacles is kind of based on, right? We left Egypt and we were dwelling in tabernacles in the wilderness. So they're most affected by this. They're going to have to come up and acknowledge this too. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain. So the Most High says no rain, which is no food, no nothing. Your animals are going to die, everything. There shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord shall smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And this is fairness, because we read, if you were here for the beginning of the classes, we read when they had their pagan feast, they forced us. So it's only right. I don't see what's wrong with this. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all the nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. All praise to the Most High. I'm going to stop it right there. I give all praise to the honor to the Most High God, Yahweh. I pray that you brothers and sisters were edified by the class. 4th of July is trash. It's always been trash. It'll always be trash. We should not celebrate it. If the class made sense to y'all, y'all put 1 in the chat. I'll open up the floor. El Zahab, if you have anything you want to say, the floor is yours, King.
No, Salakia. No, everything you brought out was edifying, priest. I don't have anything to add to that. All praise to the Most High, man. 4th of July, it is trash. Shout out to all my true Native Americans from the tribe of Gad, Reuben, and Issachar. This is your time, and unfortunately, it's a sad time because along with Judah too, man. You see, 4th of July, it wasn't so prevalent in the Caribbean and South America, but for now in this land, because this is where we're at, it's a sad time. You know what I'm saying? I know our people, we like to cook out, have a good time, flip burgers, drink, have a good time, but you got to remember the people who came before you. Remember the slaves in Galveston, right? They did not know. They were still toiling away. I know this is Juneteenth. I get it. I understand, but it all wraps up into one. We were still slaves at the time when this came out, right? So just remember that. With that, I end. Salaki, can I be heard? Priest, you there?
Yeah, I hear you, bro. Salaki. Throughout out of one. So all praise to the Most High. I put the banner at the bottom of the screen again. Make sure that you guys look at the banner and whatever applies to you, make sure you guys apply that. If you want to be a part of the body, just email us at our website. The administrators are looking for it. joinloi@gmail.com. joinloi149@gmail.com. There's going to be a little bit different depending on if you're a woman or a man. There's going to be a little bit different of a way that you be a part of the body, but the door is open for us, man. We're looking for brothers and sisters that truly want to come amongst us and labor and do some works. Don't come amongst us to hang out. Come amongst us because you really want to labor and do the work, because what you guys are watching has inspired you that you want to put your hands to the plow and help us do this work, because there's a great work to be done. We love you, brothers and sisters.
Salakia Priest, do you want to might possibly touch on like upcoming academy or the women's academy? Anything? No? Okay,
the new academy is going to be coming in the fall. I know I had said I was going to probably do one over the summer, but we're revamping a lot of things. I'm working with the administrators of the academy, and we're putting forth some new things. I've gotten positive feedback. I didn't speak to you yet, Zahab. Maybe I'll do that this week. I've gotten positive feedback from those that I've shown what the academy is going to look like. This is going to be an academy for the men and an academy for the women. It's two separate academies. They're already created. They're already in process. I've shown it to people, and they're very excited about what they've seen. That's not to say that the sisters can't do the men's academies, because the sisters academies are going to be way different. But nevertheless, they're both coming in the fall, which those that choose to do it will lead you to Passover, which is when you can definitely become a member of the body. We're looking for brothers and sisters that want to come and help us do the work. It's very important that you come here wanting to do the work, not just want to hang out, but wanting to do the work, wanting to put your hands to the plow and fill in whatever plugs that we have that we need you in. That's what we're looking for, brothers and sisters. That's why we don't concern ourselves with being the biggest camp, having the most members. I want to have the most quality people in our camp. More so than having the most members is the most quality brothers and sisters that really want to help us do the work. There's a lot of openings. There's a lot of needs that we have. So I pray that the Most High puts it on some of y'all spirit. Some of y'all been here for months. Some of y'all been here for years. And y'all see how we give it up. And you know that LOI is a good camp. At some point, y'all got to come forward and help us do the work. I'll just leave that right there. With that being said, if there's nobody else, it's your brother Priest Daniel, representing Lions of Israel, along with Elder Zahab. I appreciate y'all being here. If you've been here the whole time, have not hit the like button, that's wicked as hell. Hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys again, if it be the Most High's will, next week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, I say shalom.
I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? Her name is Babylon. I call her Babs for short. She has a lot of lovers. She lets them pass her port. She has a love affair with every foreign nation. She has a favorite wine. Its name is fornication. She has a purple robe. She has a pearly necklace. And if you worship Caesar, she'll give you worldly blessings. She's insatiable. She cannot hide her passion. Last week, somebody said she rides a dragon. I know it's crazy, but the question is, why she had to put a crown upon its 7 heads? And it's even deeper, I had to peep the madness. She made war with the saints that tried to keep commandments. And since she killed the righteous and won't let me be, when she burns, it won't be from an STD. Bodies everywhere, both man and beast. And on that day, the birds are gonna have a feast. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? Show me the finest girl is Babylon. The girl is such a mystery. Yeah, she's been that way since we were little kids. She nicknamed me Mark like I was 666. She said, you want my number? I said, you high as hell. She said, you need my number or you can buy or sell. She said, take my number. I know that I can't make you, but I'm espoused to Christ and I'm staying faithful. Isaiah had a vision. He saw the elevation. Jesus preached the gospel. John had a revelation. Her lovers hated Babs, so they burned her up. What's upside down? The Lord could always turn it up. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? I'm telling Babylon. 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 I'm telling Babylon.